Empire actor Jussie Smollett, B actor, who claimed to be attacked in Chicago in 2019, was convicted of staging a hate crime and lying to the cops. Joining me now is Harvard Law School professor, author of The Case for Colorblind Equality in an Age of Identity Politics, and Newsmax analyst Alan Dershowitz. Professor, always great to see you. Smollett's attorney says he will appeal the guilty verdict to clear his client, I guess. But let me ask you this. Is an appeal automatically accepted in a case like this? How does this all work?
Yeah, an appeal is automatically accepted, and it will almost certainly lose in this case. Look, the time has come to start a new trend. Prosecutors must start going after people who make false accusation, whether they be people trying to raise racial issues or gender issues or people trying to make money. Look, a woman named Virginia Giuffre has accused me. She's made between $6 and $10 million of falsely accusing me, accusing Senator Mitchell, accusing Leslie Wexner, accusing Bill Richardson, accusing former Prime Minister Ed Brock, and nobody is going after her. The prosecution isn't using her as a witness in the Epstein case, but she is enjoying her $6 to $10 million, bought a new home. She is a perjurer. She has made up stories, but because she's a woman, prosecutors stay away from it. She must be telling the truth. You can't have a double standard of justice. It doesn't matter if you're black or gay or a woman or Jewish or Protestant or Christian. It doesn't matter. If you've made a false charge or a false accusation, it must be investigated. And if proved false, it must be prosecuted. And there must be substantial prison time because this has to be deterred. It destroys the legal system when people are allowed to make false charges, like Smollett.
And you know, Professor, in this normalization of making accusations to make a lot of money, the biased press is complicit in this. Let me give you an example. CNN's Don Lim, whose name actually appeared in this trial, commenting on the conviction.
Too many lies to why he didn't want to do certain things, or like to cover, like another lie, and that, I guess he got caught up in that because he took the stand himself. He got angry with the prosecutor as the prosecutor poked holes in his story, calling, the only other witnesses liars.
Yeah, one of the biggest liars in media is accusing others of being a liar. It might take one to know one in this particular case. Now, since it came out in court that Don Lim was attempting to reach out to Smollett when his story began to fall apart, do you think it's wise for the CNN star to be commenting on the trial?
I think Don Lim ought to be investigated for obstruction of justice. If he, a non-lawyer, if he told Smollett not to give the police the cell phone, he ought to be investigated. And certainly what he did is much worse than what Chris Cuomo did. Chris Cuomo didn't mislead anybody. Everybody knew he was loyal to his brother. But Don Lemon had all kinds of interviews in which he didn't disclose the fact that Smollett is his best friend and that he gave him advice, improper advice, but advice nonetheless. And so, you have to look very hard at people who facilitate. In the case of Virginia Giuffre, her lawyers have gotten rich. She's made $6 to $10 million. Her lawyers have made millions of dollars pushing her false story. And there are others. There are many, many men who are innocent, who have been falsely charged with sexual crimes. There are women who are innocent. There are people from every background who have been falsely charged. And once the prosecutor learns that somebody may have been falsely charged, they have to start investigating that person. Look, this tradition is so old, it goes back to the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Smollett bears false witness. Virginia Giuffre, false witness. And Don Lemon was complicit in the bearing of false witness. So CNN is involved in it too. And a lot of the left-wing media fell for it. And without any evidence said, oh, what a terrible thing. This shows the racism in America, including our president, our vice president, and many prominent politicians who I like and admire. But they fell for it. And that's why it's so important for prosecutors to start going after people who have made false charges, particularly who have made false charges against individuals. People could be killed because of false charges. You can imagine what happened if Smollett had said, remember, he said, I hope they identify them and find them. What if they found somebody and then something happened and there was a shootout? That could happen. And so this is a very serious crime, and it should be taken very seriously.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.